Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. We are here to preview Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Unai Emery's first game against Manchester United. So, guys, make sure you liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Thank you. No idea what happened there, guys, but everyone, welcome to the Man United Agenda, and make sure if you're new to the channel, making sure you... No idea what's going on there, guys. Is there feedback? You guys got it? Yeah.
We're all good.
There is a terrible feedback. Omundi, just take off for a minute. I'm going to see if it's me and come back in.
Okay, guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. And yes, this is the preview show. And we are going to be discussing our big game against the Giants of Birmingham. And that's Aston Villa. A team that, they haven't won much for a long time, but like their supporters are great. And they're a massive, massive club. We have to give them a lot of respect. First of all, I'd like to announce we've got Neil here from Love McGrath podcast. How you doing, Neil? And just to clarify, the McGrath is for Paul McGrath in honour of the great Irish defender. Is that right?
Best defender of all time. Absolutely, yes. Mr. Paul McGrath. Yeah. Obviously, we've got mutual respect for him being a United player and coming to Aston Villa. And as you can tell, I am Irish too. So I'm. He's actually the reason I started following Aston Villa. Was Paul McGrath. So got a lot of love for him in our household, and always will have a lot of love for him. Yeah, he's a great guy.
I just want to tell you, in 1998, I think it was, I went over to Lansdowne Road for Paul McGrath testimonial game. Magnificent, because he's also one of my favourite players of all time. I think he doesn't get spoken about enough as talented as he was. He's playing midfield for Man United, as Paddy would tell you, and could play anywhere in the park, to be honest. What a player, what a legend, and yeah, so I'm all for endorsing the great man. And big up, guys. Make sure you tune into Neil's channel. Second of all, another Villa fan, and is known to us all the way from South Africa, runs the Villa supporters group. Is that right, South Africa? That's Ross. How you doing, Ross?
All good, guys. Feeling quite privileged to be a part of the Madhouse and also partnered with my good friend Neil. Villa mates, we always seem to find each other, so I'm glad that both of us are here tonight.
Yeah. Ross has been on my podcast a couple of times as well, and myself and Ross have built a good friendship over the last year or so. So great to see him.
Ross is a cool guy. Ross, do you agree that Paul McGrath is one of the best defenders of all time?
Absolutely. I mean, he's much loved at Villa Park as well. I idolize Paul McGrath, and honestly, we need more players like him in the modern game.
Okay, and I've got to introduce Solo, who's returned after a bit of a dodgy start. A bit like us this season against Brentford and Brighton. What a calamity. But Solo, over to you. You can introduce Paddy and we can move forward. Let's go.
Paddy, as always, part of the United Agenda. Sir, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? And where is the sharing of the food? Because you was very selfish. There's a few of us on here. You didn't even offer a plate.
You know, I came in very late tonight. I got 2 chamois kebabs from the corner shop. I got nipped into the Indian, got some sauce and whatever I could, and grabbed them out, and then come home and rushing about. So that's my little Friday night treat tonight. So
yeah. So you got some sauce as well, as what Ross was saying earlier.
Oh yeah. I know. Tell him. I'm bad words with him. I'll tell you.
Oh, man's not hot. Get the hot sauce out. So guys, as I said, if you are watching, make sure you're giving us a like, share, and subscribe. Apologies about the error there. Amanda, can we go through and about our sponsorship as well, please? I do want to ask Neil this because apparently Neil said he was an architect, so he should know and give everyone the answer we're looking for.
Okay, as you know, we are sponsored now by Global Mapping Surveys, or in short, GMS. And if you don't know what they do, they assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. The link is in the description, guys. Don't forget, it's GMS in association with the Man United Agenda. Big up.
Thank you. So we are going to ask Neil topical what is it called?
Topographical 3D topographical surveys is they give you essentially do you ever hear the phrase the lie of the land? So it tells you all about the undulations in the ground and stuff like that, and it allows you to know where you need to dig and all that kind of jazz. So it tells you what the lay of the land is, I suppose, before you go building.
Wow. Okay.
He knows his
People
stuff.
in the chat.
He knows his stuff.
He knows it.
Well done.
He knows it. He knows it.
Yeah.
So, guys, remember, now we're going to be talking all things Aston Villa as the guest is on. So what we want to do is we want to go through with Ross and Neil and ask them the question regarding the new appointment of Unai Emery and what went wrong for Steven Gerrard. So any of you guys can take the floor, really.
Yeah, go for it, Ross. You can start off.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this. Look, I was incredibly apprehensive on Gerrard's appointment originally, and Neil will know that. I mean, I've vented plenty of times to him about how much of dubious decisions he makes. Even though he was a part of the squad, I always supported him. I don't care who manages Villa as long as we win games and do well. But Unai Emery, oh, what a capture for Villa. I don't think we've ever had a strong team, or as strong team as this on paper, with a manager that's proven. I mean, he's won silverwares. So on paper, we should be doing extremely well, and I'm really excited. The only thing I am hoping for from the Villa faithful is to give Unai Emery time. Villa fans, we tend to turn quite quickly if things don't go our way, and rightly so. We demand the best from the club. But Unai Emery is a manager that needs time to implement his philosophy and mentality within the players. So if that means trying to churn some players out, then so be it. But I'm really excited.
Yeah, I agree with an awful lot of that. I'm really excited about Unai Emery as well. And before I get on to that, for Robbie Norman, this isn't the Wexford twang. This is Limerick, Limerick born and bred. So, well, actually, Limerick born and bred, living in a place called Galway. So, just to get that one out of the way first. But with Unai Emery, super excited about it. A bit of a sea change from Steven Gerrard, who was here previously. I've been making the point recently that, you know, Gerrard came here and he failed for the first time, and it was kind of a measure as to how he would turn around and even as a footballer, yes, he never won the league and stuff like that. And I don't want to talk about him too much because I know that I know that he's probably not held in his high esteem here, but he failed for the first time as a manager after coming down with all the adulation from Rangers, and that's a blight on the copybook, I think, for the brain trust in Aston Villa. And what they did was they went out and they course corrected really, really quickly. Went out, they got somebody who has learned from failures in the past. And I'm not even talking about with Arsenal. This guy went to Shakhtar Donetsk he didn't. He went to Spartak Moscow, and he went there and he was bombed out after 6 months, and he learned an awful lot from that. And even though when he was with Arsenal, he had a 55, nearly 56% win rate and got them to fifth in the league, there's still a feeling, I won't say he feels, but there is still a feeling that he was probably harshly treated there. So with this appointment, Villa have gotten somebody who's learned from his mistakes, has gone away, has reinvented himself as a tactical professor. I think I interviewed Luis Miguel Echegaray from ESPN today, and he had done a lot of work in Spanish football, and he mentioned that Unai Emery is known as professor, and that's something that Aston Villa have never had. They've never had almost an educator as a manager before. We've had the guts and glory team managers, and Steven Gerrard would probably be one of those guys, the rah-rah speeches in the dressing room, but no, we've got somebody who's going to instill a philosophy. You guys are probably going through something similar at the moment. Ten Hag is a philosophy-driven manager, and Emery is the same. I don't think I'm going to offend too many Aston Villa fans when I say that the Man United squad is obviously way more inflated from a talent point of view than the Aston Villa squad is, but anything can happen on any given day. And while we do have the longest unbeaten, you guys have the longest unbeaten away run in all of English football against us, which is 23 games or 23 years. I don't know which one it is. It seems, but 23 games will be 23 years. You know, anything can happen on any given day, and I think that's what we're kind of hoping for at the weekend, more so than expecting.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil. I'm going to go on to my guys, but before I do, I want to go on to Ross and ask Ross a question, then go back to Neil again. Steven Gerrard took obviously the job, and it seems like it was the perfect fit for Steven Gerrard. But do you think it's to do with like the player power, or do you think it's something to do with Steven Gerrard came in and rather than being a manager, there is sort of conflict where he still believed like he's better than some of these players in the change room? Obviously, he would have been better than them, but could that be a turning point?
No, I don't think so. I think the whole reason that Gerrard came down or his initial appointment was made is firstly, there's the links with our CEO, Christian Purslow. He has a good ties and a good relationship with Steven Gerrard because Purslow was involved with the Liverpool background. So for them, they saw that appointment as a ambitious one. They saw Gerrard doing well with Rangers and respectively the Scottish League. The quality there is not as high as the Premier League, obviously so. But they saw a young manager who's hungry, and they were hoping to instill that ambition and hunger within the Villa squad. And, you know, I want to say they got the appointment wrong, but that's all in hindsight. We learn from our mistakes. Unfortunately, we just have to bear the repercussions of it. After a year on, Christian Purslow cited the initial signing as continuous improvement from Dean Smith. And I don't care which manager comes in after Dean Smith, it was always going to be a hard job to replace him. He was much loved within the Villa faithful. And unfortunately for Gerrard, it just didn't work out. I don't want to say he lost the dressing room because I don't even know if he had it in the first place. We obviously had that initial new manager bounce, which was great. And we saw that after defeating Man United. We beat you guys at Old Trafford, which was excellent. But obviously, towards the end of his tenure, it seemed to diminish. And we can't have that. There's obviously rumors and different types of situations and scenarios that has arisen within the dressing room that we can't really believe. But we have to put that past us. We're looking forward. We've got ambitious owners. We have, as I said, on paper, a really highly talented squad. We've got a really good youth academy as well. And all we just need is a manager with a little bit of patience, love, and direction to mold the squad together. Because I'm telling you, on our day, we are probably one of the strongest teams in the country. And we saw that with our match against Brentford. Out of nowhere, we just came in, we destroyed them 4-0. We had 3 goals within 15 minutes. That's unheard of for any team, let alone Aston Villa. So with Unai Emery coming in now to replace Gerrard, hopefully he can install that elite mentality within him. Good luck to Gerrard on his next job. I'm just quite sad it didn't work out. We have to look forward.
Thank you. And Neil, obviously I don't know because we don't really and truly look at the newspaper or anything like that, but there was certain rumors circulating that there was like a breakdown of communication between him and Coutinho as well, with Gerrard and Coutinho, ex-player that played together and stuff like that at Liverpool. What do you make of it?
I'm muted, sorry. That's the first I've heard of it. That's the first I've heard of a breakdown between himself and Coutinho. What I will say is he couldn't get Coutinho firing. Coutinho has been much maligned down Aston Villa way for the majority of this season. It's just not clicked. The last game of the season last year when we played Man City, he was absolutely on fire. He played a really good game, and since then we just haven't seen him show up. And that was one of the reasons why I think Gerrard, the patience started to run thin with Gerrard, was because if he can't get the best out of Coutinho, considering you brought him in, look, a marquee signing for Aston Villa, probably the most high profile player we've ever signed, and we bring him in and obviously he comes on off the bench against you guys last season and he turns the game, I suppose, himself and Jacob Ramsey. But then it was too few and far between the games that we had from him. So I think there was a lot of questions being asked there. It was like, wait a minute, we've gone in here and we've paid this guy big bucks, probably the biggest wages Aston Villa have ever paid in their history as well, to Philippe Coutinho, and he was your guy. So if he doesn't work out, you don't work out, and we're going to sever ties with you a small bit quicker than we will him, because we need to get some sort of return on investment. And let's be honest, the more jerseys with Coutinho in the back that are sold, at least the club is making money. But there's no jerseys with Steven Gerrard on the back so it was very easy to get rid of him from that point of view. So I don't know what is their breakdown between the two of them. I'd be very surprised if there was, because I still know that they're very friendly, but it's more so a footballing breakdown whereby he couldn't get the best out of him. And I think that's going to be one of the keys that Emery is going to have to unlock. He's either going to have to get the best out of somebody like Coutinho, or be confident, or the club need to be confident to move on from Coutinho and take the hit monetarily from all the cash that they've paid him. So it's good. It's a story still to watch, I think, how Coutinho is integrated within this Unai Emery side, if he is.
Thank you. Great thing there. On Monday, obviously, I'm going to bring you on full screen, but you know why as well. But it's going to be to do with Unai Emery as well. About obviously he got sacked from Arsenal. He went back to Villarreal. They got in the Champions League. He's been doing fantastic. And what a coup for Villa to get a manager with that pedigree. But before we do that, would you mind just Matthew Bassett? All about Matthew Bassett.
Big up to Matthew Bassett. He's dropping £10. A lot of money these days. He's saying big up to everyone on the channel, and thanks for the great content. Thank you, Matthew. You'll see Matthew later on, I imagine, at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. Yes, you do.
Yeah, in regards to Aston Villa, I just want to say this. I thought Dean Smith done an excellent job. This is someone who knew his stuff, knew the leagues. Obviously, I thought he brought in Watkins as well from the Championship, which at the time seemed like a big risk. And that seemed to pay off. He's a very good player, England international as well. I was shocked when they sacked him. I thought they just need to give him more time. But the thing is, they brought in Steven Gerrard, who did do pretty well at Rangers, but that's a 50-50 most of the time. It's a two-team league. And you've seen what Rangers did last year with a new manager, Van Bronckhorst, to end up winning. I know they got to the final, didn't they, of the Europa League? Something Gerrard didn't quite do, you know. So Gerrard, I don't think there was a question mark at the time. And the Villa boards, clearly they put a lot of money into him. And he bought some really good players. I thought these are good players. All it needs now is some good coaching. And I was really expecting bigger things from Villa. So whatever's gone wrong there, I really don't know, because I would say you've got a manager that I feel is at the right age. When you look at someone like Vieira, most of the players playing for him know Vieira. They know the original Vieira, and they look up to him. And sometimes that can be inspiring for a player to play for someone who's sort of your idol. And the same applies for Steven Gerrard. He's sort of like Superman out there, isn't he? Roy the Rovers. But then I think, well, what could go wrong here? Is it a relationship thing? Is he too distant from the players? I'm not qualified to speak on this. But I'm sure the guys must know more about it than myself. But the question's always out there. I remember Glenn Hoddle would go onto the training field, and he'd done it with Beckham, said, no, look, this is how you cross the ball, you know? And Beckham really upset Beckham, say, you're doing it better than me. You know, that's not how you do it. That's not how you show people up. And I think maybe it's a personality thing. But the decision's been made. He's gone now. You have to move forward. And I think it is a dent on Gerrard's reputation. Hopefully he can restore that somewhere and get some real groundwork from lower leagues like most of the managers have to do. But as regards to new manager, I think it's a great appointment. I really think, like Ross was saying, you need to give it some time. But he's got some good players to work with. I just hope the board are invest in him, because wherever he's gone, he's always done a good job. Look at him at Seville. Look, he won the Europa again. Well, he won the Europa plenty of times with Seville. He won the Europa with Villarreal against us. You know, he was at PSG. This is a top draw manager, and I really like what you were saying there, Mr. McGrath, about his background, calling him professor, his philosophy of play. He's very hard to beat. All sides I've seen him play with, Seville especially, and Villarreal, very hard to beat, very compact, and they deliver. They deliver. And what he seems to, this is the thing you can't really sort of coach. He seems to have a unity, a harmony amongst his players. You know, this is something that's been crucial, especially with the Spanish players. I think it worked better for them with the Spanish players there. But I'd like to see him introduce that to Villa, because I think they're not far. They're on the cusp of blowing up. With the players they've got, the talent they have there, all they need now is just to have a little bit of harmony, bit of aggression as well, and I think they can do bits. I just think it's a tough one, though. You have to wait now. Just be patient. And see what happens in the future. But this game coming up the weekend, I don't expect anything from Villa to say yet, but you always get that manager enthusiasm, don't you? New manager enthusiasm. So it'll be an interesting game. We're going to Villa Park. I'm sure the fans will be on side, and let's see how it goes, because we're on the up as well. We've got a lot of momentum. So I'm really looking forward to the game, and I love having these two guys on the channel as well. So big up, guys.
Thank you, Omundi. And we're going to go to Paddy now. Paddy, Birmingham, you're not far away from where the ground and things is. Sort of the atmosphere where you are. But not only that, but Man United play them. And I think Emma made a point, and I was going to ask you that point, about the manager bounce, because Gerrard came in roughly the same time when Man United played him.
Yeah. I mean,
so do you go on?
Go on. Sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the new manager bounce. I remember that game. I watched it back actually 2-2 today when Fernanda scored, and then we got 2-0 up, didn't we? We were going for it. Then Jacob Ramsey, then Coutinho got it with our poor defending. So it could again. That's what worries me. It could be a big manager bounce, and this Emery's good. He is good. His record's fantastic, and I wish we were playing. We got to play for, haven't we? We've got a good momentum going, but having a new manager coming in now, God, what timing! What timing! Couldn't his work permit wait? Can we wait if his work permit's coming 10 weeks time or 6 weeks, and after the World Cup or something? But no, we can't. But that I think that's going to be what happens with these players. They might react with Emery on Sunday, and that's my word. But then we've got to battle again. We've got to fight. And that battle that we got last night with Sociedad, we've got to use some of that battle. And we've got some good players in there. But I want, I'm hoping Antony's going to play, but it doesn't look like he's going to play. So we'll see. But it's important that the new manager bounce.
Thank you. I'm going to put everyone back on like a normal screen for the minute. Wow, how am I doing this? I don't know how I'm doing it. Yeah, that's it. There you go. So, guys, if you're new to the channel, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. We've got loads of comments coming through, so I want to go through some of them, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Manchester United, because we've been talking about Villa for the last 20 minutes. So we'll give a little source about Manchester United. So, Omundi, would you mind taking some of these comments away, please?
Yes, no problem. First of all, I want to say hi to Eddie Football Waffle. Check out his channel. Brilliant. HG Gamer saying Donny's got a chance of playing. That's Donny van der Beek. And so should Iqbal on Sunday. That's Iqbal's dad, who hasn't had a really look in. I think he played against Villa in pre-season. Audio, okay, we know about the audio. We had a few problems. Obviously, Robbie Norman was trying to locate where Mr. McGrath was from, and he got it wrong. HG Gamer saying, didn't know Ross supported Villa. Ross is all over our channel. You should know that by now. He does all the time. So I want to say hi to Matthew Bassett. As you know, he put £10 in the comments. Big G saying he's definitely Pat's replacement for the topographical surveys. He knows what he's on about. Thank you, Mr. McGrath. He was on the money. Emma K, how you doing? She said, didn't Slippy G, meaning Gerard, also just come in when we played him last season? What the hell? There's some sort of jinx going on here. Mark Edmund, all the way from Australia. We are international. He's saying, question for our Villa guest, what makes you think inside can succeed at
Emery? Emery's going to say.
He's saying
Emery. Yeah.
What makes you think Emery can succeed at Villa when he failed at Arsenal, a bigger club? I don't know if he failed there, but we come back to that. And the question here from Matthew saying, what are the expectations of Villa now? Mark Edmonds saying, question, one of the strongest teams in the country. Where does he rate Villa? Second. Soupy Mark is saying a step up from SBL, which is Scottish Premier League, to the Premiership was just too big. And maybe on his first division, should have gone to the first division then and to the Championship before the Premiership. That was more realistic. Matthew Bassett is saying that Coutinho was past it when you bought him at Villa. I want to say hi to our very own Mr. B. You can see him at 10 p.m. with the takeaway show. HG Gamer saying Coutinho would turn back the clock to 2014. Mr. B saying Villa would get licks on Sunday. And finally, Mark Edmund is saying, I think Villa have a good team. Not convinced about Unai complex game plans will translate to the intensity of the Premier League. Not sure about that. I think he's all right. And finally, I just want to say she was in the country last week, all the way from Canada. And that's
I did reach out to her as well. Check your message. I reached out to her as well. Check your Twitter feed.
And she came over to watch the Arsenal game against Nottingham Forest. First time at the Emirates for her, and she absolutely loved it. And you can see the joy in her face. I saw that fantastic video you did with Robbie from AFTV, as Arsenal Fan TV. You delivered, as you always do, Miss Melina. So welcome, Miss Melina, and big up.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. So that's a bit about Emery now. We are going to go in quickly, and what we want to do is fucking get the banners up. Well, I can't get the banners up. I don't know where they disappear to. It's like I can't find anything.
I do.
Oops. I'm going to go to the team squad news. So what we're going to do, because we spoke about Villa in depth quite a bit, we'll talk about United, then we'll go to Villa a bit as well. So I'm going to go to Neil first. So Neil, I know you said earlier as well regarding Man United is in the process of, obviously, we're rebuilding at the moment, and we've got a new manager coming in obviously Ten Hag. There is a philosophy. You can see what he's trying to do. And it's Man United's come under the radar. But I'm going to ask you a question about, obviously, the whole things that's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment. does that help Manchester United in a way where the performance, where we're performing, but it's almost like all the negative stuff's going on Ronaldo, and you're not seeing the positive stuff come from Man United just creeping up the league?
Look, it's always good to have a focal point to take away I suppose that negativity. Usually managers would put it on themselves. Steven Gerrard used to try that with Villa, but it never really worked because you just never really believed some of the things that he was saying at times. But with regards to Ronaldo, look, the question really is like, should he have ever come back? You know, will this tarnish his, I'm not going to say tarnish his reputation with the United fans. Why would it? You guys should still love him because he's been an absolutely fantastic player, arguably the best player in the world. But is it helping Manchester United? I think it's probably helping and hindering in equal measure, because at the end of the day, it might be helping the team, but it could be hindering Ten Hag, because he's just going to continue to be judged on whether he can manage this situation. And he seems to be doing a great job so far. He seems to be showing that he's boss. He seems to be clenching his fist to the whole situation and treating Ronaldo like every other player. When, you know, some managers may not do that because they may be overawed with his stature within the game. So I find it a difficult question to answer definitively to say if it is actually helping. But as you say, it's always good to have somebody that the media can kind of focus on while everybody else goes quietly about their business. So from that point of view, I think that, yes, it definitely does have some sort of bearing on it. Saying that, I think he'll probably start against Villa at the weekend, because he just loves a goal against Villa. He loves a goal against everybody, but he certainly loves a goal against Aston Villa. And now that Fernandes is out, I think you guys definitely start Ronaldo at the weekend, and he probably goes to town.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Yeah, I think you're right with what you're saying there. I think he scored 8 or 9 goals against Villa. So Ross, we're just talking about obviously the Ten Hag effect, very much similar to what I think Emery is going to bring to Villa. But do you think United probably stand a chance of probably top 4? Because I think right at the beginning of the season, they've been written off, weren't they?
Yeah, you know, Man United's a little bit of a tricky situation over there. I do believe that the players they have, you know, it substantiates enough quality to reach the top 4. I think a lot of those players are still trying to get to grips with Ten Hag's type of style of play. We've seen that with Ronaldo finding it hard to adjust. McTominay and Fred have had mistakes in them, and let's not even talk about Harry Maguire. I know that.
Don't do that on the show. Don't do it on the show. You know where someone's sitting back.
So yeah, look, I think once those players start actually understanding their roles within the team, because that's how Erik ten Hag likes to have his club, and any club that he's managed, that he focuses and places emphasis on a squad and a team. It's not about individual players or trying to go for glory for just one player. He wants the team to be able to have good cohesion and mix well. And that's how he's got the best out of Ajax. He brought in all of the youth players and he made them gel, and he had the sparkling of experienced heads there, and that aided their transition. And yeah, I think if they apply themselves, if your players at Manchester United do apply themselves and listen to Erik ten Hag, then I do believe that top 4 is a good shot. The Premier League this season, we always talk about how competitive it is, but I mean, you only have to look at the point difference between the relegation zone to the top 10. It's like less than 3 or 4 points. So if you go on a run of a good couple of games and you manage to get all 3 points from them, they'll just catapult you up the league. So it's still quite early to speak about. The World Cup's going to come into play as well, which also means fatigue. But Erik ten Hag's got a good mentality and a good understanding of the game.
Thank you, Ross. Paddy, now I know on the agenda, everyone in the chat who knows you know you're a bit more harsh when it comes to some of these players in the squad. So I'm with you again, and me and you normally bumps head about players, about who's good, who's not. And I just want you to sort of give me a breakdown at the moment, what you can see, because certain players, when we say their name, you smile. You know, Martinez, where we talk about Antony, you smile. So going into a game, especially with Ten Hag now, he's brought a couple of players. He brought Antony, and he's obviously got Martinez, who a lot of punditry come out and say he was too small. Other fans come out and say, you know, he's not going to be good enough. But at the moment, it's almost like he's ruffling up lots of defenders at the moment. So what do you make of the progression of Manchester United so far this season?
I'm loving. I think we got our defence sorted now. Even with the keeper playing a blinder now, he's probably looking at our defence, going, "This is a proper defence now." Not since the clowns that we had last year. He's thinking, "Yeah, I've got this defence." It's giving him confidence. I was thinking about today. The defence is giving him confidence, and I think it's rubbing off on the keeper, even though he's good anyway. But Martinez, oh my God, this fellow!
Look at that smile, guys. He's smiling.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Last year I was miserable. Never mind, but Victor Meldrew last year. But what I'm saying to you is that Martinez is fantastic, and Varane, if he's playing, but he's injured again because he's made a glass, unfortunately. But yeah, Lindelof's coming in. I'm not a big fan of him. Maguire coming in, not a big fan of him either. I'm not at all. They're not the standard, but Martinez is coming on, is brilliant. And Antony, he's not playing tomorrow. I was trying to find out today about the injury news. But I don't know. It looks as though Antony's playing tomorrow. He's not in the party, which really upset me a bit, to be fair. It really has. But we're looking really good. United looking good at the moment.
Yeah. And then let's class the defense. Omundi is on. Omundi, obviously, I think we're in a good place right now as a Man United football club. I think a lot of fans is with the manager. And right now, the team itself, because we are talking about the team and the team news of Manchester United right now, what can you say? A lot of injury is coming back in. You've got Maguire's back. You've got Wan-Bissaka back. You had yesterday as well. You had Van der Beek coming back as well. Come on, talk to me. Give me some love in here, because I know Paddy is sort of like he's like pinching me. He's like teasing me a little bit, but taking it away from me.
Well, look, first of all, the Premiership is the best league in the world, undisputed in my opinion. The standard is getting better each year, and this year, when you look at the teams, look at the management, look at the how unique these teams are as well. They're playing well in Europe. Most teams are qualifying to the next round as well. Just shows the standard that we're dealing with, and I think most teams within the Premiership will do well in most leagues, elsewhere. Physicality as well. There's always been, I thought, mate, is it a myth that someone like Van der Beek can do so well in Europe and come here and not do so well? People say it's a myth about the physicality thing, or what there's reasons why. There's certain players that don't really sort of make it in England. And I think there's a number of things, cultural difference as well, the weather as well. So you have to be tough, and you have to be in the prime of your career to do the work. And we're looking at players that we've introduced now, like Casemiro. He's a great player. At Real Madrid, he's a great player, but I don't think he's got the legs to sort of he has to learn to get the legs now and do some harder work, because we've seen him getting pinched in the Premiership, and Nana at Everton, and physical players like Jacob Ramsey or whatever. These guys will really be set when they do the data analysis. Said hit Casemiro, let him know you're there, that kind of thing. So he needs to adapt to the league. So there is some sort of adaptation. So you have to give the league respect. As regards our squad, 5 subs these days, you have to utilize them to have an effect. I think our manager's been brilliant this year with the subs he's making at the right time to have the right impact as well. And having players like Donny come back, Wan-Bissaka, just gives us more balance. At the moment, we've got an issue at centre-back. Varane is out, as like Paddy was saying. Varane's been really good, forming a good partnership. Went 5-game winning streak with him and Martinez as centre-backs. And then Maguire's coming back in. He's had a game the other day, and he's got a lot of... to revitalise himself. He's got a lot of making up to do, because a lot of people are on his case about his form and about just social media, just general stuff, slab head, all this kind of thing. He's been mocked completely, and this can dent someone's confidence who's supposed to be the captain of a big club like Manchester United. And I really do feel for him, and I think he's got thick skin. He's handled it pretty well, and it would be because of the rotation, because of injuries, he's an option to come back in again and prove that he is a good player that we pay good money for, who's taking us to the semi-final and a final in major tournaments internationally as well, and who the Italians respect and other nations seem to respect, but we don't. So we have got a good squad, and it's great to see players coming back in. As we saw in midweek in the Europa League, we got a player called Garnacho coming in. Just came in and scored a goal on his starting debut. So that just shows you, traditionally, we always bring young players through, and this is another starlet who's lighting it up right now. So we've got options. The manager's very good, as all the guys in here would agree. There's no argument there. And as Ross was saying, at Ajax, he proved himself. It's right at Ajax winning the league, but to go far in the Champions League and beat Dortmund and all these teams, and get to the semi-final. That's really impressive. The last person to do that was Van Gaal, and you can see what sort of manager he was as well. He's got a great philosophy. The thing is, we've got a system of play now. It's taking time to adapt, but the players are getting there slowly, and I think we're on course. Give it another 6-7 months, we're going to be even better than we are now. And it's not about players all the time; it's about systems, and it's about learning from the manager as well and being consistent with it. And I think we do pretty well this season based on that alone.
Right. I was going to ask, I'll bring Ross on. I was going to ask Neil a question because I'm going to go on to your guys' team now. What sort of impact? So you guys, obviously, Douglas Luiz, I think Man United was linked with. So I'm not going to ask every single one because when Neil come back, I want to ask him about one player. Man United was linked with. On Monday, I spoke about Ollie Watkins as well, who is coming as well. You guys have actually done well in the transfer window as well. So again, it's a case of with your team. If you go through a bit with your team as well for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, before I do, I saw a comment that Omundi read out earlier asking where do I think Villa are in the league? Second, because I called them one of the best teams in the league. And my answer to that is yes, this is Aston Villa. Look at our squad on paper, and that's why I said on our day, we are one of the best teams. I mean, this is the same team that held Manchester City to a draw. And, Erling Haaland only scored 1 goal against us. Not like a hat trick against other...
Whoa. We're not here to troll here. We're not here to... Don't show off.
So, look, this Aston Villa squad is one of the strongest that I've seen in my history and all of the supporting Villa. And you can see that with the quality of the players that we've got. These are seasoned international players. Boubacar Kamara is coming in, and he's a young, talented lad. We've seen that he's already made his debut for France. Matty Cash as well. Lately, his form hasn't been the greatest, but going forward, he is really, really good. And I would like to see how our wide men actually play under Unai Emery. Because I was a bit confused with how he had that whole forward wing backs under Steven Gerrard. Then he changed it to wingers. That was a bit confusing. There's no identity. And I think that's one thing Villa have lacked for a while, is identity with our players. What is our playing style? We weren't really a pressing team. We weren't really a possession-based team. It was almost gun-ho for quite a few months. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to with our players. Ollie Watkins, like Omundi mentioned, and I know he's a big fan of him. Lately, he's left his shooting boots at home, or he's lost them because he hasn't been able to hit the target for us a lot recently. If you're looking at players that need to maybe watch, that could be key players, honestly, I can't even tell you because we are so inconsistent lately. There's a lot of good players in our team that show their glimpse of quality every now and again, like Emi Buendia, and I'd say out of all our players, that's the one player that I'll pick out as our key man. And the only reason I would say that is because what I've seen under Aaron Danks, who was our interim head coach, caretaker, and with Steven Gerrard, is that he works incredibly hard off the ball. He's one of those ferocious players that will just chase down every loose ball, and he won't be scared to get into the likes of Casemiro's face and try to win that ball back. Whereas the other players may have played a little bit lazy. So for me, that's the one player that I'll pick out as a key player at the Aston Villa squad.
So Ross, you beat us to it, so we're going to hold you on that one because we are going to go through that afterwards. But what I want to ask Neil is, Neil, before you cut off, I wanted to ask you about the Jamaican international, because this is one player I can see will glue into the Emery system, and he will be, providing he can stay fit, he will be your player of the season if he can stay fit, and that's Leon Bailey.
God, we hope so. Came with a big price tag, came with a big reputation, obviously ripped it up in Belgium, moved on to Leverkusen, ripped it up there, had his problems with Peter Bosch at Leverkusen. Times he was being played as a right wing back, but got brought into Aston Villa. He immediately lit it up, and that game against Everton, he really changed the tempo of the game altogether. And then he got injured, as you say. He had thigh injuries, he had hamstring injuries, and last year didn't go right for him. Preseason has been very good for him. he started the season inconsistently, I would say. But look, every Aston Villa player was started inconsistently. But yes, he's somebody who I think is made for this Unai Emery tactic. Specifically, he does need a fast out ball with his counter-attacking, depending on what formation he plays. One of the funny things about Leon Bailey is that Leon Bailey's stepdad is his agent, and he's and sometimes Craig Butler. I actually think he's grand or whatever, but sometimes he might come out with a statement that kind of, I'm not going to say puts him on the back foot but nearly puts pressure on Leon Bailey, puts pressure on him to perform and stuff. And sometimes I think that the dichotomy there can have maybe a small bit of an effect. But I think you're right. Leon Bailey has all the potential in the world. You can't buy pace that he has. Like, that pace he has is latent. It's just, you can't buy that. You can't teach that, should I say. You can buy it because we bought it. But he hasn't clicked so far, and it's been in fits and starts. But I think you could say that of an awful lot of Aston Villa players since Steven Gerrard has come in, and or since Steven Gerrard came in. So hopefully this longer term project with Unai Emery will get the best out of somebody like Leon Bailey.
Yeah, and again, Neil, you said it. I was going to ask you the question, but you actually said it. If people haven't watched Leon Bailey play for Villa, I know if you're not a Villa fan, just go and watch him for the sheer pace, how quick he is. I watched him against Ecuador a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you now, the ball was probably on the halfway line. He must have kicked the ball. He kicked the ball, and he basically went past about 4 players, just run straight past them. That's how quick he is. So if you haven't watched him, please do so. So again, we're going to go to squad. And Rob, as you're on here already, Neil, I'm going to just ask you the question. Key players to watch for Manchester United. So what's your key players? Because I know my key player who I'm going to shout out for Villa.
Key player for Manchester United, and I'm terribly, terribly worried about him, is Christian Eriksen. No matter where he plays in the field, I think he's going to be the main man for Manchester United if he starts. I think he gets that start in that number. I think he actually gets moved forward. I know I saw a couple of people there mentioning in the comments about Van der Beek. Yes, Van der Beek may very well come in somewhere in that midfield, but I think that just bringing him back to his roots, bringing him back to his natural position in the number 10 position for Christian Eriksen, maybe bringing in, and I know I don't know what way Man United fans feel about Scott McTominay, but I actually really like him. I just think he's a good, I just think he's a good, honest player. And I think he's probably I could see him play with Fred, but look, that's Ten Hag's problem. Our problem is going to be stopping Christian Eriksen no matter where he plays, because if he's fit, he plays tomorrow, whether it's a 6, an 8, or a 10, and he's just a magic player. So he's the guy that I'm most worried about about tomorrow, in the absence of Bruno Fernandes, because you're going to have to find someone to pull those strings. I'm not quite sure Sancho plays in that number 10 position for you guys tomorrow. He could very well do, or not tomorrow, on Sunday, could very well do. But you're going to need somebody, and I think the Ten Hag situation needs somebody there to be able to play that role that Bruno Fernandes plays for Manchester United. And when you've got somebody hanging around there like Christian Eriksen, I think you'd be mad not to play him in that position. So yeah, he's definitely my danger man.
And you see that, Neil, you upset Paddy because you mentioned 2 players' name and his head went down. He started shaking it, and that's the McFred.
Jesus Christ.
So let's go now to Ross, because I'll come to the rest of the guys. Key player to watch for Manchester United, who you're so not looking forward to playing against.
That's a tough one. I mean, the Manchester United squad is littered with talents. Cool. The obvious one that sticks out naturally is Ronaldo because of his goal-scoring record against Villa. But I don't think he scored against us since his return. I think I'm going to have to go with Ronaldo. On the pure basis, look, we know his quality, and we also know how much he loves to prove the doubters wrong. And I was actually watching the Europa League game that Ronaldo started in during the week, and he's starting to pick up new positions on the pitch. That pass that he made to create the assist for your youngster, I might butcher his name, Garnacho, yes, thank you. That's that was very un-Ronaldo-like. We always associate him with being that poacher, someone in the 6-yard box to tap in. But I was really impressed with the way he managed to adapt and see the vision to create the team goal. And that's what I was talking about under the Ten Hag system, where he doesn't like to place emphasis on individuals, where he likes players to move and evolve as a team. And if Ronaldo carries on picking up those pockets of space and evolves, like how Lionel Messi has done, where Lionel Messi has obviously lost his yard of pace and he's had to kind of evolve into being the playmaker within the space. If Ronaldo starts to adjust to that transition as well, not only are we going to have to worry about his goal-scoring exploits, we might have to worry about him picking out the right pass, like Christian Eriksen that Neil pointed out to. So Ronaldo's going to be my danger man.
Thank you. Paddy, your danger man for Villa. Who will it be? Who you're not looking forward playing against? Because I've got one. Well, I've got two.
Yeah, I think is Ollie Watkins, maybe, and Danny Ings. Danny Ings has been scoring goals, and Watkins he's had his lean time, but he's a player you've got to watch. And again, you talked about the young lad, what's his name, Leon Bailey. The problem with Leon, though, I don't know if Neil will come in and Ross, but is he very one-footed? I found. I watched some of the Villa games. I'm just wondering if he's a very one-footed, but he's one to watch. He's got great skill.
Paddy, he's Jamaican. That's why we all one-footed.
But those are the three players, really, I think. But if Coutinho gets back to form, he'd be one to watch again. I don't think his class is permanent, isn't it? So we'll have to see if Coutinho gets his form back under this new manager. But we'll see.
Brilliant. And then let's go to Omundi, Villa player. Well, I know you got lists of them, but Tyrone Mings isn't one of them.
No. I was going to talk about Tyrone Mings. It's like retribution for him as well, because he was dropped by Gerrard, wasn't he? And his form dipped, but he's always got a mistake in him as well. I think that's a player that I just think is with the shortage of England centre backs at the moment. He does get a look in, but I just don't rate him. He's got all the physicals, big, strong, 6'5", whatever he is, and but he's not got enough IQ for me. But maybe this could be the making of him. Maybe the manager can turn him around. As regards to threats, I think Ollie Watkins, I like the player. I know Ross, I'm always talking about this guy. But I do think he's a good little player. And I think this year, with the World Cup coming up, he's not yet out of contention. He needs to step it up a little bit. You shouldn't really always gauge things on goals, because sometimes you play free up and he's sacrificed playing wide. But he does the job, and he's a good squad player in that respect. If I'm a defender, I don't want to come up against someone like Ollie Watkins, who will run you and who's not be afraid to. You can back off, but he's going to go. He's going to go. And it's just energy, his enthusiasm, and he's a good team player. That's what I like about him. I think he's a threat. It'd be interesting to see how we deal with him. Also, Danny Ings, as Paddy was saying earlier, in the 6-yard box, he's very good at finishing, but obviously with injuries over the years, he's sort of declined as in stat-wise. But they're a very good player. I think Villa, Jacob Murphy impressed me last year with how robust he is and how strong he is for his age. And he looks like someone's future. I always watch him in the under-21s. He looks like a very good player. And like you guys were saying earlier, you've got a great academy. There seems to be so much talent coming through Aston Villa. I can name so many young boys over the years. And I know at the moment, Vlasco, I do watch a lot of youth football, but so many talented players when I see Villa with the youth academy and that kind of thing. So it's looking good, man. It's looking good. The manager made a good choice, and it was Villa a good club. And if he does make them click, the manager will be a legend out there, because they've always been on the cusp of blowing up.
Thank you. So guys, 25 in the chat. We only got 25 likes. So if you're new to the channel, give us a subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, give us a like. We are going to do the solo 11. So let's be surprised when we do the solo 11 and find out who I've actually put in my team. So before we go and do that, though, on Monday, we'll literally GMS Limited, a sponsorship once more, and then go through a few of the comments quickly, please. Is that all right, yeah?
Yeah, quickly. We go through it again. GMS, Global Mapping Surveys. They're our sponsor. They assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They have a wide range of services. They're such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D labour scanning, and monitoring. So check the link in the description, guys. Going to go through a few comments here.
Get your team in as well, guys. Get your team in.
The Butcher will cancel out. We'll sort out. Watkins says HD Gamer. That's Martinez he's talking about. HD Gamer is also saying it's Donny out for Fred in the solo 11. Emma's saying, I don't think Garnacho is starting. I'm not sure if he'll be able to play again already. Like thinking about his physicality because he had a good run out the other day. Harry starting left wing for us. You remember Harry Maguire was up front the other day. Questions asking again here. Do you think Garnacho will start on the weekend?
I'd hope so.
Stuart Marshall saying, can't see Ronaldo starting Sunday. Front three of Sancho, Rashi and Antony. If they're back. I don't know if they're back though, guys. Big G saying, yes, he did mention Fred. As we all know, our man Sola loves Fred. He always big him up. I want to say hi to Jam Jack. He said, Uno Emery. Is that a song? He's taking us to the Euros or Wembley. Oh, that is a song. It rhymes. So there's a new tune. Emma's saying Elanga or Rashford to just run at Mings. Is that a sure win? I'm not sure. And respect here from Mark Edmond, all the way from Australia. He says, respect the confidence. Villa have a great squad. We'll need to be our best to get anything. So there you go.
Okay. UK Strange in the building as well. Big up. Guys, there is 24 in the chat and there is not one person who put their 11 in as yet. So come on, guys, get that 11 in. But before we do that, though, I'm going to go to... Let's go to Neil first and get Neil's perspective of his starting 11 for Villa. So, Neil, if you wouldn't mind just giving us your starting 11 that you think Villa will put against us on Sunday. Put you on the spot, sorry. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I have a dartboard behind me and I'm very tempted to just fire darts at it and pick names that way because I've absolutely no idea. When a manager comes in on Wednesday and we play a game on Sunday, I've no idea. I think he doesn't think around with it too much. I think he goes with Emi Martinez in goals. I think Matty Cash definitely starts at right back. Mings plays at centre half for sure. Who he plays beside Mings, I don't think Ezri Konsa fits his style. He's played with Callum Chambers before. He's coached Callum Chambers before. Maybe he comes in at centre half. And Callum Chambers, for all the purchases that Steven Gerrard made, Callum Chambers was his best because he was absolutely outstanding for Aston Villa last season in the centre half position. So maybe he comes in there, but I couldn't. If you were to ask me to put money on that back four, I couldn't tell you. Luka Dean is fit again. I don't think he goes with Ashley Young. Albeit that Ashley Young has played really well for Aston Villa this season. He's 37 years of age, and Father Time is undefeated. I'm 37 years of age, and look at the cut of me. So it's it's not easy being 37. I can tell you that. I think in midfield he's probably go. I think Leandro Dendoncker ticks a lot of boxes for Unai Emery. I think he plays in there. I think Douglas Luiz plays in there. I have no idea who the other midfielder is. Does John McGinn come back in out of the cold? Does Ramsey play? I'm not quite sure. If it's a 3-man midfield, I think he will. I think he probably would go with a John McGinn in there, and then up front he's kind of limited with options. I would imagine Danny Ings starts through the centre with Watkins and Bailey probably left and right. I know I haven't mentioned Buendia in there because I just don't know whether he's going to play a central 10 against Manchester United. If he does, if there is a central 10 to be played there, that gets rid of the McGinn question and probably Buendia plays in there because I think the Buendia is somebody who's just going to take off against under Unai Emery. He's just seems like a player that's made for that for his system, but at my best guess, I think midfield is impossible to guess who he's going to play in there. But if I was to go down to the bookies now, I'd put a fiver on Leandro Dendoncker starting and Tyrone Mings starting. And after that, I couldn't tell you. It's all guesswork after that, I think.
Thank you, Neil. And see there, Ross. Ross has got his thinking hat on. Ross has been sitting there thinking, what is it going to be? How is it going to set up? But Neil's got a point, though. It's new manager effect. You don't know who's going to join and who's not, who's going to start.
Well, that's the thing. I'm just sitting here listening to Neil because I think this is the issue that all Villa fans have got at the moment. We don't really know. And I mean, you don't even know in the best of times when a new manager comes in. But specifically now with the predicament that Aston Villa are in, where players have just been so inconsistent, you're not too sure on who to put where. It's not even about who starts, it's what positions are they best at. Martinez definitely starts. I'm almost certain he's recovered from his head injury that he sustained against Newcastle. So I'm pretty certain he'll start. Matty Cash as well. Mings will start. I do think Ashley Young will start left back on the pure basis of obviously his performances recently have been remarkable. I mean, what a top professional he's been. Uh, he's still doing the bits at his age, at this level. And I think that Unai Emery thrives off having that type of leader on the pitch just to rally the lads when things are not going their way. And he's also the type of player that gets in referee spaces and tries to have a little bit of jiggery-pokery going on where he almost puts opposition off and tries to sway referees' decisions. And I like that. I like that in a professional. That's all part of the modern game. I do think every console will start. The thing is, Unai Emery hasn't had a long time to get to know these players. So I don't see him changing things too much. The only thing that I do see possibly changing, and this is just from me watching his past games with other clubs, is I do think the formation will change slightly. I do think it'll be a 4-3-2-1. I see Dendoncker in the holding midfield. What I do with Douglas Luiz as well, playing as a double pivot, that number 10 role is going to be so crucial. And I would like to think, obviously, we would all like to think that Buendia starts in that 10 role, but it'll be interesting to see if he plays John McGinn there. And the reason I say that is because that's his natural position for Scotland. And he's so integral within that Scottish attack where I don't want to say he's a box-to-box 10 because that seems quite unorthodox, but he's always running around there and creating the spaces, making the overlaps and the false runs to allow for other players to almost penetrate the spaces that he pulls defenders from. And John McGinn at Aston Villa hasn't done that this season. Neil will know, and he's been so frustrating to watch ever since he's got the captaincy. He just seems a shadow of a former self. But last season, he was tenacious and he was aggressive and he was doing those runs, but albeit slightly deeper because that's where he was playing. I think Watkins will start on the left. I do think Danny Ings will start up top. And what I would say is that if John McGinn starts in 10, I think Bailey would be on the right. If not, then Buendia on the 10 and Boyle on the right. But yeah, that's just if I have to fathom a guess and my humble assumption just from watching Unai Emery from his experiences with his other clubs like Villarreal. Before we move on, I do want to say something really important, and I'm pretty certain that Neil will agree here, and this is just a little bullet segment. One aspect that is crucial for me, where I think a manager is good or a head coach is good, is if you can improve the players that he currently has. Steven Gerrard could not do that. Unai Emery has done that. He's done that at Villarreal, and I think he will do this he'll do it well at Aston Villa. He probably couldn't pull it off at PSG and Arsenal. And the only reason I say that is because of the type of egos that are in those dressing rooms. At Arsenal, he had to deal with players like Ozil, and we all know how that contract argument went out. But at clubs like Aston Villa and Villarreal, where they have similar stature in Europe, I think he will thrive. And if he can just pull off his little magic that he did over there in Villarreal and Valencia, then Villa's the perfect space for him.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can see I'm getting a lot of grief at the moment in the chat about Fred already. So we are going to go to Paddy, sorry. And Paddy, I'm not going to ask you what your lineup is because it doesn't work like that on the Man United agenda. But what I'm going to do is get them on it just to go through some of the guys' teams at the moment, and then we're going to do the solo 11. So, Paddy, you can destroy my solo 11 if you fancy it afterwards.
No problem, mate. I will. I won't.
Just run through quickly. Hi, Rory, saying De Gea, Dello, Lindelof, Maguire, no Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno midfield, Rashford, Antony, and Ronaldo up front. KG Gamer, De Gea, Dello, Lindelof, Martinez is in. Shaw, Casemiro, Fred, Ericsson midfield, Rashford, Ronaldo, and Elanga up front. Box, who is saying here, De Gea, Dello, Lindelof, Martinez, Shaw, midfield of Casemiro, Van der Beek, and Ericsson. Ronaldo, Antony, and Rashford up front. Big G saying De Gea, Dello, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Iqbal, that's the youngster Zidane, Rashford, Ericsson, and Garnacho. He's throwing in 13 players. He's not sure. UK Shade saying De Gea, Dallo, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, midfield of Fernandes, Casemiro, and Ericsson. That seemed decent. Rashford, Ronaldo, Antony. And finally, I'm going with Stuart Marshall, De Gea, Dello, Martinez and Maguire, Shaw, Midfield of Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fred. You'll be delighted with that. Antony, Rashford, and Sancho.
You see, the thing is, yeah, and I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered for this now. So let me get my solo 11 up. So, Ross, I think you've seen it before, but Neil, I normally do a solo 11, and I always have my boy in it, but unfortunately, he's not in it. So, let's go to Paddy. Paddy, my first 11. Who would you start, and who would you take out this team, and who would you put in?
Where's Antony? I suppose he's injured, is he? I suppose you'd put.
And he's injured, and Bruno Fernandes is suspended.
But yeah, I know Fernandes is suspended, but aren't they assessing Sancho and Antony? What I've read this evening that they.
I couldn't tell you. This is my make-up team.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say yeah.
I'm not normally far off though when I do this.
No, to be fair, you're on there. I don't know about Alanga being in there, and I think he might play Rashford, not Ronaldo. I don't think he plays Ronaldo in his games. I think he likes to leave him out. And I think he'll play Rashford tomorrow. Van der Beek, I don't know why we're putting. I know he played well the other night. I still don't think he's ready for. I don't know.
If you listen to the manager's press conference, Paddy, he's here to stay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just not a big fan of him. I don't think he's good enough. I think I do like some of the other players in his team, which we have been playing well, by the way. And Neil and Ross will probably think I'm a lunatic, but probably he's not far wrong there. But what I'm telling you is that Luke Shaw and Gala, I'm not a big fan of. Martinez, I love. But yeah, Eriksen, yeah, Casemiro, quality. But I think Ronaldo up front, yeah, he has scored in the past against Villa. Maybe, yeah, possibly. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Solo. Yeah, you're not bad. Alanga, maybe not, I don't think.
Monday's sitting there staring deeply. Come on. And guys, I didn't put Fred in this team, so please do not do it to me. I'm hurt.
I would change Donny van der Beek. I'd put in McTominay. I think McTominay is an outstanding player. I think he listens to the manager, can give him instructions. He comes on and does a job. As we saw against West Ham the other day, Rice was bossing it. He puts on McTominay, and Rice suddenly had big McTominay, 6'4", on his case. Giving him less time to do things and making great runs on his blind side. Sort of dragging Rice the other way. I think it's going to be a physical battle, especially you've got that Jacob Ramsey. I said Murphy earlier. I said it's actually Ramsey in the midfield. He's so physical and, industrious. John McGinn. And you've got, who's the other guy in midfield? Luis and then Donker. Yeah, these guys are really big, strong, physical. And first of all, we have to win the physical battle. And I think it's important that we do with McTominay in the side. As for Alanga, it's a tough one, isn't it? I don't think he's got the confidence just yet. I would play Garnacho after that performance the other day. He's a live wire. I think when you do your data analysis with teams, Villa really don't know enough about him. So he's still at that stage where he can come on, be fresh, and cause some problems to your fullbacks if he gets in one-on-one situations, as he did, or as he does all the time, basically, whatever level, whether it's youth or playing a senior football, he's got the ability to do that. So those are the only changes I would make.
Thank you. Again, in the comments, guys, I'm getting it at the moment. I'll take this one. Mr. B saying no, I'm seeing sense. We haven't gone on Monday. This is all yours.
Well, it's Connor again, international, all the way from San Francisco. How you doing, Connor? Yank talking smack. He says Garnacho has to be starting over Alanga. Donny van der Beek didn't do enough to warrant the start this weekend. Talking about he got dragged after 50 minutes or something on Thursday.
And then, sorry, Big G, but I took him out. He will be back in next week. So, guys, we are going to go now and do score prediction. So, get your score prediction in. So, as we do on the Mania agenda, we always let the guests go first. So, let's put you guys on big screen. Let's go to Ross. Your score prediction, please.
Optimistically, I'm looking at a 1-1 draw. Optimistically.
Wow. Only optimistically, Ross is going for the 1-1 draw. We are going to now go to Neil and then find out from Neil. Neil, what is your score prediction?
I've given it a lot of thought, and I think there can only probably be one score, unfortunately, for this, and it's 15-0 to Aston Villa. I'm like Ross as well. I was just trying to rack my brain for something there, but Ross stole mine. I think there could be something along the lines of, look, Emery's known for setting up teams to frustrate other teams. You just go look back at Villarreal and Juventus. Actually, do you know what? If you want to fall asleep for this evening, watch Villarreal and Juventus from last season. Although you're going to have to wake up for the goals because Villarreal goals were very well worked the way they did it. But what they did was they just passed the ball around and they frustrated Juventus, threw them out, and they really played a kind of rope-a-dope system. And I think that's the best we can probably hope for at the weekend with the manager coming in on a Wednesday. But look, the game is played on grass and not on paper. I myself think that it could be a draw at the weekend. I think that Emery can set up teams to be difficult to beat. He doesn't. He couldn't do that against Manchester United for the 2 Europa League games last season. But in the league part of the Europa League, but I think that he will be cautious and he'll know that a point is worth an awful lot to Aston Villa tomorrow in a game that they're not expected to get anything out of. I keep on saying tomorrow, but whenever I say tomorrow, I mean Sunday. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw as well.
Thank you so much. And let's go now because Omundi might come up with a surprise score. Paddy, what is your score prediction for Sunday, sir?
Well, I think about this. I think there's goals in this game because these two teams will go at each other. And what I'm going to say is we'll win 3-2.
3-2, wow. And then we're now going to change over to a Monday. And now we're going to see the game out on Sunday and Monday, or we're actually going to go for a proper score?
Thing is, I think we struggled to score goals. Like 2-3-0. When was the last time we won 2-3-0? I think it's be a 1-0 win to Man United. Thing is, our defense is secure. That's the main thing, and this is what I always love: control the game, score a goal, control the game, and see it out. And that's what we did against Real Sociedad the other day. Scored 1-0, controlled the game. And I think it's about the system. The system wins games. That's my favourite saying this year. The system will win the game for us against Villa, even though it's away from home, even though they've got a new manager, even though they've got good players, even though they've got Ross and McGrath supporting them and boosting them up. I still think we can win this game. They have to break us down. I think we're getting good plays now, like third man runs to open teams up, and we can sit back, we can absorb pressure, we can play higher up the pitch with our nice rest defence. And I think we're getting little patterns of play now where we can open teams up and little rotations like that. So I think we're getting there slowly but surely. We're making slow developments to becoming a good football team in all aspects of the game. So I think it's going to be 1-0. We can hold on and win.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to predict a 2-1 win. Normally I go 3-1, but I think it's 2-1. It's going to be a tough game. As Omundi said earlier, we're not scoring a lot of goals at the moment at Man United. The manager did say about, obviously, we need reinforcement in that position probably come January or the summer. So goals are hard to come by. So I'm going to say we probably will concede. And I think Leon Bale will give us absolutely hell if he plays. So that's the reason I'm predicting 2-1. Omundi, from Yankee Talking Smackdown, would you mind just going through some of these score predictions? Score for us.
Rory's saying 2-1 to Manchester United. 5-0 to Man United.
Big G, whatever you have in I'll have.
Mr. B's confident. He's saying 3-0 to Manchester United, I hope. 1 was a fair call, says Mark Edmond, all the way from Australia. UK's James saying we are due a big stroke result. I'm saying 5-0. That'd be massive. 2-0 away. That's the away. 2-0 for Manchester United, says HD Gamer. 2-0, says Box. Jemba. Say it twice. Stuart Marshall saying 3-1 to Manchester United. Emma is saying 3-0 Man United. So they're all sort of saying a clean sheet, but they're all saying a win as well.
Right, guys. Thank you. 23 in the chat, guys. If you're new to the channel, please give us a like and subscribe. But before we do so and we do anything, guys, link will be in the description because I did try to put a link in the description for Neil's channel today, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. So once the show finished, I can then do it. So make sure you go and check the love of Paul McGrath. But tell everyone where you're from. Tell everyone instead of me saying it. You're muted.
I never do this on my own channel. I don't know why I do it on your channel. I don't know what the story is. Yeah, for the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, I think I'm safe in saying I'm the only podcast that has the name Paul McGrath in it. So if you just search for that, you're going to find it. We're available on YouTube as well. But yeah, Irish-based Aston Villa podcast. Ross is on there from time to time as well. So you guys know Ross. And yeah, if you're ever looking for any Aston Villa chat or looking to pass away the time, come and join us. We'd be delighted to have you. We've got lots of fans from different fan bases pop on, and it's always a nice, safe space to chat. So come along and join us if you so wish.
Thank you. And we know where we can find Ross, as always, but I'll tell the world where we can find him as well.
Yeah, so on Tuesdays, I'm also part of the AFTSN Football Lounge chat. So you can always catch us there on the YouTube channels. We'll always talk about anything that's football related. It's a nice safe space. Looks like everything where there's Aston Villa fans is a safe space. So you can catch us on there as well.
Thank you. And with that as well, guys, the channel that Ross is on is part of our channel as well. So it's part of the community. We've got a few channels out there that's part of the Man United Agenda community as well. But it's been absolutely brilliant having you guys on. Sorry it's gone over the time, but time flies. Any last things from you on Monday or Paddy?
I was going to say, so sorry, Monday, go ahead.
Yeah, I really love the guests. These are really nice guests. I'm going to go and check out the Paul McGrath podcast as well. Looks like a great channel. Well, Neil is representing the channel really well. I love what he says about his team. Really articulate, and he knows deep down. You ask any question, even about topographical surveys, and he delivers every time. So big up to you, Neil. Nice to meet you, and you're always welcome back on the Man United Agenda. And obviously to Ross, you're one of the brothers anyway. Even though when you come to London, you don't come and check me, but we love you still.
Guys, actually, just on something there you guys might be interested in. I interviewed Graham Hunter last week on the podcast. That might be one. If you are actually interested in looking into it, he's one of my favorite journalists, and probably is my favorite journalist of all time, football journalist. So give it a shout out. He's a sound bloke, and yeah, it was one of the big moments for me to interview him last week.
Absolutely brilliant.
Second behind being on the Man United Agenda, naturally.
Yes. Obviously.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Paddy?
I'm just going to say, Neil was great. I reached out to Neil this week, and allowed me to go on his podcast the night before last, I think it was now.
Yes, I did see that.
I may have got a bit of stick from my Mings comment, but you know what? I say what I think and say what I think. So unfortunately, I did. But thanks to Neil. And Ross, lovely to meet you, by the way. Brilliant, mate. All the way from South Africa. Don't worry, pal. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Absolutely brilliant, guys. But listen,
thanks, Neil, Neil tops, mate. He's tops.
Top. I've got to say, big thanks to Neil for coming on tonight, taking time out to jump on. Ross as well, absolute legends. Thank you guys for so much. Everyone who's watching, 25 in the chat. If you have not yet hit that like button, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please do so as well. We are on the road to 3K subscribers, so make sure you go and support the channel. And remember, go into the link in the description, because I will be putting Neil's channel in the minute the show is finished. So you go and check him out as well. Ross, you can find Ross on Instagram as well. Ross, you didn't even shout your Instagram feed as well, Ross.
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram at @_Rose_, and I'll be there.
Are you on Twitter, Ross? Ross, you on Twitter though?
No, that stuff gets a bit too toxic.
I can't get him on Twitter. I can't get him on Twitter at all.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you all for watching. Congratulations to Solo upgrading from a solo. Oh, guys, listen, I'm sorry. Just this week, as from now, after that, Fred's going to be in every single team for the rest of the season. Even if he's injured, he will be in the team. But from us on the Man United Agenda, guys, I'd love to say we are going to be back. So make sure you tune in at 10 o'clock for the Friday Night Takeaway, where you'll be meeting Mr. B, TalkMU, Matthew Bassett, Thomas, and if someone else is on, I've missed someone, I'm not sure, but make sure you go and tune in, because that's going to be a show where you can go and spot the ball as well. But I might go and cheat, log into their thing to cheat a little bit as well. So make sure you go and check them out as well, guys. So from us tonight, we'd like to say thanks to the guests as well. They've been absolutely amazing, but good night.